I'm a huge fan of Nordic murder mysteries, and there's a new film from Sweden that just arrived on Netflix. The Conference is a violent horror comedy that pits a masked killer against a group of coworkers. So, should this one be bumped up to the top of your watch list? A team building conference attended by municipal employees spirals into a nightmare when accusations of corruption begin to circulate and plague the work environment. Simultaneously, a mysterious figure begins stalking and murdering the participants one by one. So, we've got a mostly unlikable group of government workers heading to a retreat center to finalize plans and then put on a groundbreaking ceremony for a new shopping and residential development. They're highly dysfunctional as a team, and although their working relationships are vaguely defined, the general understanding is that they're supposed to be working together for a common goal. And just like with a college group project, most members don't do their fair share, while others then do most of the work, and then there are a couple who don't even know what's going on or what class they're in. Now, as the opening credits roll, we see that there will be some bloody carnage happening at some point in the movie, and it doesn't waste too much time before people start expiring. The violence is brutal at times, and at others, it's obscured, so we hear the actions, but we don't see the gore. Now, I appreciate the expedience at which the story gets into the killings, because this isn't built to be something deep where I'm concerned for all the characters. I mean, I may like one or two of them, but most of them, they gotta go. And that's because most characters are unpleasant and loathsome. We don't get much development on any, making it difficult to have somebody to root for, other than maybe the killer. Now, two of the characters, they remind me of John Ralphio and Tom from Parks and Rec. They do a lot of posturing and catchphrases of lingo with a fake it till you make it mentality, hoping that nobody is going to figure out how corrupt and idiotic they are. Now, the one named Jonas is not only a petulant child, but he's condescending, arrogant, pervy with some rapey vibes, and then completely deserving of a terrible fate. I mean, I wanted him to be the first to die in this gloriously bloody and violent manner. I mean, I disliked him so much that if he were to be flayed and then drawn and quartered, I'd stand up and applaud while the others peed on his corpse. Now, while several of the other government employees, they're just as unlikable as the dynamic duo of dumbness, they're just nameless targets for the mass murderer. They could be off in any sequence, and really by any means, and it's not going to matter. Character decisions, they make zero sense too. At one point, a character has evidence of wrongdoing by another, and while being threatened though, that person reveals that they possess the evidence. This creates this false sense of suspense and stress, relying on the assumption that because something comes across as threatening or maybe violent, us as the audience, that we're going to be concerned and invested. And then, at another point in the narrative, a character is being held by their head, but they also have some huge shears in their hand. Now, I think the natural reaction would be to stab whatever body part I could get hold of the person who's grabbing my head. No, though, that's not what happens. The character doesn't do anything rational or intuitive to their survival, instead opting for something ineffectual. Now, I think the motive for the killings is kind of predictable, but it goes undefined for most of the entire film. An unknown assailant who kills for no reason can be very unsettling, just depicting pure evil and unemotional callousness. But because the tone of this story is way more whimsical than freaky, the ambiguity works against the tension. I like some of the edits that are in this because they're quick and clever, very reminiscent of an Edgar Wright film like Hot Fuzz or maybe even Shaun of the Dead. Now, the scenes, they alternate between a gnarly kill and a team-building activity mid-action, which creates a wonderful cohesiveness and energy with those actions, and then they match well and keep the momentum of the story quickly progressing. Now, while the kills are satisfying because of how unlikable so many of the players are, the lack of connection to the characters makes this shallow and forgettable. As the movie goes along, the gore increases, as well as the ingenuity of traps and weapons. Now, I think this would have worked better with a scenario that just pits all of the employees against each other, kind of like the Belko experiment. The story, it's thin, extremely basic, lacking just nuance and depth. And when that's combined with one-dimensional characters and zero suspense and tension, the entire experience is just an effort in futility. If you're looking for a quick and violent movie where you don't have to be invested, but you can get some enjoyment from savagery and then tons of screaming, this could be entertaining. If you're looking for something meaningful and memorable, keep searching. As a casual watch, it's fine, but that's about it. There's no sex, a little nudity, a lot of profanity, and a ton of violence. I give The Conference 2 out of 5 couches. So what are you watching right now? Anything good that you're binging? Let me know about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.